used to think people exaggerated how quiet the woods could get at night. I don't think that anymore. 3 years ago, I worked as a delivery driver in rural northern Pennsylvania. Most of my routes were simple small towns, farms, gas stations, but once every few weeks, I had to deliver supplies to cabins deep in the mountains. Those were always the worst jobs. No signal, no streetlights, nothing but endless forest. One Friday in late October, I got a delivery order just before sunset. The address belonged to an old hunting cabin nearly 40 minutes from the nearest town. The guy at dispatch looked uncomfortable when he handed me the paper. "You'll want to hurry," he said. I laughed. "Why?" He shrugged. "People don't stay out there after dark." I thought he was joking. I left around 6:30 p.m. By the time I reached the dirt road leading into the forest, darkness had already swallowed everything beyond my headlights. The trees looked wrong somehow. Too tall, too dense, like they were leaning inward. The gravel road stretched for miles. My GPS lost signal after 10 minutes, but I kept driving because there was only one road forward. At first, the trip was normal. Then I noticed something strange. There were no animal sounds, no crickets, no owls, nothing. Just the sound of my tires crunching gravel. I checked the delivery note again. The cabin was supposed to appear near an old ranger sign. About 5 minutes later, I saw it. A rotting wooden sign half covered in moss. And beneath it, something standing beside the road. I slammed the brakes. The figure didn't move. It looked like a person wearing a dark raincoat. Its face was hidden. I rolled down the window slightly. "Hello?" No answer. The thing just stood there, completely motionless. A cold feeling crawled up my neck. I quickly rolled the window back up and drove around it. As my headlights passed over the figure, I realized something horrifying. Its feet weren't touching the ground. I hit the gas immediately. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely breathe. About 10 minutes later, I finally reached the cabin. A single lantern glowed on the porch. An old man opened the door before I even knocked. He looked terrified. "You came after dark?" he whispered. I forced a laugh. "Yeah. Why does everyone keep saying that?" The old man stared past me toward the woods. Then he quietly asked, "Did you stop for the Whistler?" Every hair on my body stood up. "What?" He grabbed the package from my hands. "If you hear whistling on your way back," he said, "do not look into the trees." I thought he was insane, but the expression on his face, he truly believed it. I hurried back to my truck and started driving. At first, everything seemed fine. Then I heard it. A whistle. Soft. Distant. Somewhere deep in the forest. I froze. It sounded almost human, but wrong somehow. Like someone trying to imitate a person. The whistle came again. Closer this time. I turned off the radio completely. The sound echoed between the trees. Then another whistle answered from farther away. Then another, and another, surrounding me. My chest tightened. I pressed harder on the gas. That's when something slammed against the side of the truck. Bang! I nearly swerved into a ditch. Something tall moved between the trees beside me, keeping pace with the vehicle. I only caught flashes of it in the headlights. Long arms, pale skin, no face. The whistling became frantic, excited, like they were communicating. Then suddenly, the engine died. The truck rolled to a stop. Complete darkness swallowed the road. I tried restarting the ignition. Nothing. Outside, the whistling stopped. The silence was worse. I grabbed my flashlight and locked the doors. That's when I heard footsteps circling the truck. Slow, crunching, deliberate. Something brushed against the side mirror. Then came a voice, right outside my window. Hey, it sounded exactly like my younger brother. My blood turned to ice. My brother lived 4 states away. Can you help me? I didn't answer. The voice changed. Now it sounded like my mother. Please open the door. Something scratched slowly across the glass. I kept my eyes forward. Then the thing outside whispered, "We know you
Dad,
looked."
why did you stop?
The truck suddenly started. The engine roared back to life on its own. I hit the gas instantly.
Why did you stop?
As the headlights flashed back on, I saw them. At least 6 tall figures standing among the trees, watching. Every single one had no face, and every single one was smiling. I never took another mountain delivery again, but sometimes late at night, when the wind blows through the trees outside my apartment, I still hear whistling, and sometimes it whistles back. Story 2. The Fire Tower. In 2018, my cousin Darren disappeared in the woods of Oregon. Most people think he got lost. I know that's not true, because I was there the night something took him. Darren loved isolation. He worked seasonal jobs at national parks and spent months living alone in remote fire lookout towers. He said the silence helped him clear his mind. I visited him once during the fall. Worst mistake of my life. The tower sat on top of a mountain surrounded by endless forest. The nearest town was nearly 50 miles away. To reach it, I had to hike the last 6 miles on foot. By the time I arrived, fog covered everything. Darren looked thinner than I remembered. Exhausted. He hugged me quickly and locked the tower door behind me. That should have been my first warning. "You lock it during the day?" I asked. He nodded immediately. "Especially during the day." I laughed nervously. "What's that supposed to mean?" Darren didn't answer. That night, we sat near the windows, eating canned soup while rain hammered the tower. The forest below looked like a black ocean. At around midnight, Darren suddenly stood up. "Don't go near the windows," he said quietly. I frowned. "Why?" He turned off the lantern, then pointed downward. At first, I saw nothing, then movement, far below the tower. Lights, dozens of them, tiny white lights weaving slowly through the trees. I thought they were hikers, until I realized they were moving too fast. And there were no voices, no flashlights, no campfire sounds, just silent floating lights. "What are those?" I whispered. Darren looked pale. "They come every night." The lights stopped moving. Every single one turned toward the tower. I suddenly realized they weren't flashlights. They were eyes. Hundreds of glowing white eyes staring directly at us from the forest. I stumbled backward. Then came the knocking. 3 slow knocks from beneath the tower. Thunk, thunk, thunk. Something was climbing the stairs. Darren grabbed a rifle from beside the wall. Stay quiet. The knocking stopped outside the door. Then a woman's voice spoke softly. Ranger. I froze. The voice sounded injured. Cold. We're lost. Darren whispered. That's not a person. The voice continued.
Let us in. Please,
There's a
so
little
cold
girl
out
here.
Mommy!
A child
scared.
began crying
Open the door,
outside.
I know you're in there.
The sound echoed through the tower. My instincts screamed at me to open the door. Darren pointed the rifle toward
Let us
it.
in. Please,
Then
it's
came
so
another
cold out
voice.
here.
Mommy!
My own
I'm
voice.
scared.
Open the door, I
Darren.
know you're in there.
Let me in. I felt my stomach drop. Something outside was perfectly copying me. The fake
Let
voice
us in.
started
Please,
laughing.
it's so cold out here.
More voices
Mommy,
joined
I'm
it.
scared.
Open
different
the door,
people.
I know you're in there.
Different ages. All saying the same thing. Let us in. The entire tower began shaking. Something huge slammed into the support beams below. Dust fell from the ceiling. The glowing eyes in the forest multiplied. Thousands now, moving closer. The voices outside became angry, animalistic. The doorknob started turning slowly. Darren fired a shot through the door. Instant silence. Then, footsteps retreating down the stairs. We stayed awake until sunrise. When daylight finally came, Darren unlocked the door cautiously. The stairs were covered in muddy handprints. But the strangest part was the ground below. There were no footprints. Nothing had been standing there. Only deep drag marks leading back into the woods. That afternoon I begged Darren to leave with me. He refused. They follow you once you see them, he said. I left alone before sunset. Darren disappeared 3 weeks later. Search teams found the tower empty. No blood. No signs of struggle. Just one thing, written repeatedly across the walls in black ink. Don't answer the voices. I still dream about that tower. And sometimes when I wake up in the middle of the night, I hear knocking beneath my apartment floor. 3 slow knocks. Thunk, thunk, thunk.